Hey Canucks fans, it's Sunday. That means it's another edition of Ask Me Anything. I'm Clay Emo. I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter. I'm at Clayton Emo on Instagram. I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club. And this is my Canucks take, all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Sunday, June the 14th. Hope you're having a great weekend. I've been busy. I've been at my church all day, all weekend actually, with some First Communion masses for the grade 2 students. Very, very beautiful ceremonies. And I hope you are having a good weekend as well. I know after this, I'm going to take a quick nap before heading back to church tonight. And then later on tonight, 10 o'clock, my weekly YouTube live stream. So I hope you join me at 10 o'clock. We can chat about Canucks. We can talk about Phase 3. We can talk about contracts. We can talk about COVID. Whatever you want to talk about, a chance to check in with one another. So join me 10 o'clock on YouTube tonight. Okay, we got 6 questions today. Half of them from YouTube and half of them from Twitter. A nice mix of Canucks and non-Canucks, but I'm going to go in order. Let's do all the Canucks questions first, and then a really fun personal one at the end, which I think is going to have a really cool story to go with it. So here we go. Nicholas on YouTube says, how much of a potential dark horse are the Canucks this year? Well, Nicholas, great question. That really depends on your definition of dark horse. Given that they finished out of the playoff race by points, out of the playoff picture, I should say, but by points percentage, they're deemed to be 7th in the Western Conference. So you could still say that they're, of the 24 teams, they're on the bottom half of the 24. So I think you could consider them a bit of a dark horse. But I think if they can get through Minnesota in the playoff round, or the play-in round, who knows what happens in the playoffs? Because I've said this before, depending on what happens with the other 3 series, the other 3 series in the Western Conference, the Canucks could come out of the play-in round, either in 5th, in 6th, or in 7th. And then we don't know if they're playing St. Louis, Colorado, Vegas, or Dallas, because they're reseeding themselves as well. So I've talked about this before in many vlogs. You don't know who we're going to meet, but I think that if the Canucks can get through Minnesota in the play-in round, they have a chance to go far, because they could have a really hot goaltender, one of the best in the league, in Jacob Markstrom. They could have guys like Pettersson, Besser, and Miller, and Toffoli, and Hughes really step up. If our role players do really well and step up, it could make the Canucks a pretty challenging team, a pretty formidable team in the postseason. So how much of a potential dark horse? I think the Canucks have a chance to win 2 or 3 rounds. I think they can win the play-in round, and I think they can win at least one more, maybe in that next matchup. But then after that, now you're into Final 4 in your conference, and then it gets a little bit tougher after that. But no, I'd be excited to see at least them get through Minnesota and then be a true playoff team, and then anything can happen from there, especially with a hot goaltender. So we shall see. I'm not sure if it's Ole or it's Ollie. It's O-L-L-E, but O-L-L-E from YouTube asked this. What if the Canucks find a place for Toffoli but can't keep Tannen and Gaudette? To me, that would suck. Yeah, that would suck, especially I would hate to lose Adam Gaudette as a third-line center. I like Jacob Tannen, but I do think that there's no guarantee he's going to be back with the team next year, which I'll get to in a second. But so if the Canucks could find a place for Toffoli long-term, but would have to give up Gaudette and Tannen, that's tough to say, because Toffoli could bring a lot of offense. Especially if we sign him for a 4 or 5 year contract at reasonable money, he could be a staple in our top 6 for years to come. I do love the way that Adam Gaudette's game really improved this season, and I think Jake Tannen will always be in that 15-20 goal range. I don't know if we're going to see much more than from him, but Adam Gaudette could blossom to a really, really formidable, really strong, reliable third-line center. But I don't know how you can get away from Toffoli. He's so good, and he makes our team that much more dangerous. So what if the Canucks can't find a place for Toffoli, if they can find a place for Toffoli but can't keep Jake and Adam? To me, that would suck. I think that would suck, but maybe it's going to have to go that way. I hope not, but maybe it'll have to go that way depending on how the Canucks spend and use their money and allocate their money going forward. And that's kind of what the next question's about. It's Mike Higashi. It's Hiroki Dude from Twitter, at Hiroki Dude. It says this. Benning said he was going to recover draft picks. Does he trade for Tannen? He also has to choose between Tyler Toffoli, Tanev, and Markstrom. Who do you choose if only 2 of 3? Well, I'll do that part first. I've always said I want Jacob Markstrom and Tyler Toffoli back. I like Chris Tanev, but to me, he's the most expendable of the 3 from a standpoint of who I want on the team. Now, you could say, Clay, it seems like we need him the most as a right shot D-man. But yeah, you do have Myers there, you have Rafferty there, and you could get a cheap guy like Rafferty to fill in that third pairing role. I've been always talking about debating between Markstrom and Toffoli. Markstrom, MVP level goalie, Toffoli, a point per game player since he's been here. I would take those two over to Chris Tannen, quite frankly. So that's the second part of your question, Mike. The first part, Benning said he was going to recover draft picks. Does he trade for Tannen? Yes. I've heard, not yes, he's going to trade him. Yes, I've heard Jim Benning talk about the need to recoup draft picks. He's traded a few of them away in the Tyler Toffoli trade, in the JT Miller trade, and others. So yes, I do think you'd want to get some draft picks back, either first or second round, right? Higher draft picks. But obviously to get that kind of quality, you have to give up quality. So maybe you are trying to unload someone like Jake Virtanen, or maybe a package of players, and you're only trying to get a pick back. So maybe you're trading away a prospect to get another pick, because I don't know how many of our Canucks players, our roster players, that we'd be willing to move. I don't know truly how kind of desirable they were, how appealing they are to other teams. Now we know that we have a logjam in the bottom six. If you include Levo and Ferlin coming back from injury, you have Levo, Ferlin, Gaudette, Roussel, Virtanen, Mott, Beagle, Sutter, McEwen, Eriksson. That's already 10 guys. Then Sven Berchi, 11. So that's 10 or 11 guys for only 6 spots. So you think there might be some movement there, but how much really is a guy from the bottom 6 going to fetch? Maybe a mid-round draft pick as opposed to a first or second round. So I think it's easier said than done. I'm not blaming Benning for a lack of foresight or anything like that. They can get creative. They can attach sweeteners to trying to unload contracts like Eriksson and Sutter. Maybe you have to throw in a Virtanen or a prospect, and maybe that's how you get draft picks back, and then you save a lot of money, of course, and continue to build through the draft. So, Mike, I think it's a great point. I don't know if it's Jake Virtanen specifically, but he might be, when you connect it to my other answer about trying to get Markstrom and Toffoli re-signed, maybe you do have to try and sign and trade a guy like Stetcher or Virtanen, where at least you can get something back for them instead of losing them completely as a restricted free agent. So we'll see what happens, right? That will happen if they decide not to, if they can't, come up with a deal. But as restricted free agents, the Canucks can walk away like they did with Ben Hutton, but I don't think they want to lose for Tannen or Stetcher for nothing, if that. So we'll see. Again, be very interesting to keep our eyes on that situation for the next 3 or 4 years. Canucks, 3 or 4 weeks, 3 or 4 months. What am I talking about? Not 3 or 4 years. That's too long. Canucks fan 59 at Canucks fan 59. I like when the Twitter handle is the same as the Twitter name. Says, what's your favorite Canucks jersey? Maybe you know this already. My favorite is the black skate. It is the flying skate, actually, and especially the black one more than the white one. I do like the stick and rink as my second favorite, but definitely my favorite is the flying skate. And I loved it then when they brought it back for the 50th anniversary. And you guys know my favorite jersey right now to wear is the 50th anniversary black skate, my Quentin Hughes one. But they all look at the Horvats, the Pedersens, the Millers, the Besters, everything. And of course, the Hughes that I have. Anything in that black skate looks really, really good. So that is indeed my favorite jersey. It was so even before it came back as part of the 50th season. And my second favorite is indeed the stick and rink. Aiden at ACNTRL. So I'm not sure if that's short for anything. It says, what are your 2 other favorite hockey teams in the NHL to make your top 3? So after Vancouver, I would say it's Winnipeg and it's Tampa Bay. I like Winnipeg because I like the city. I've been there many times for some church works, for speaking and for some training. So I love the people there. I like the Winnipeg Jets team itself. I think they're very talented. They're very young. They'll be hopefully still dangerous, even if Byfuglien, once they resolve the Byfuglien situation. And also, my cousin Dusty was a goaltending coach there for 2 years before Dusty did his 4 years with the LA Kings organization. So I like Connor Hollaback. I like Scheifele. I think Lining's okay. Kyle Connor. So they're really, really good players over there. So I'd say those 3 reasons. I like Winnipeg, the city. I like their actual team, and the fact that my cousin Dusty coached there and he enjoyed his experience there. They're my second favorite team. My third favorite team is Tampa. I've always liked them. It was too bad that they got ousted so quickly last year in 4 straight. But I've always liked Stamkos, Kucherov, Vasilevsky, Hedman. They have a very talented team. I like John Cooper. And I don't get to see a lot of them, of course, because they're in the East. I was excited to see them this year, but that was like one of the first or second games that got canceled. I was supposed to go with my friend Marie to watch Vancouver host Tampa in the middle of March. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. But they are my favorite team in the East. Don't like a couple of their goofballs. I know that one game where they were trying to run, I think it's Cedric Paquette, tried to run Besser a couple times or hurt Petey. But overall, I do like Tampa as my third favorite team. So it's Vancouver, it's Winnipeg, and it's Tampa Bay. And then lastly, Phil, at Basketball Phil on Twitter, says this: how loud did you cheer when the Raptors won the title last season? And I promised him that I have a pretty good story for this. I think it's a pretty good story, so hopefully it's worth waiting for. And of course, Phil asked this yesterday on the 1-year anniversary of the Toronto Raptors beating the Golden State Warriors in Game 6 to win the championship last year. So here's the thing. Last year, during the final 2 games of that series, I was in Dallas, Texas, doing some youth training in a Vietnamese church, wonderful Vietnamese community. That night, I don't know if it was what day of the week it was, I can't remember, but because of the time difference, we were basically doing our closing prayer during the final minutes of that game. So thankfully I wasn't leading the prayer, some of the students were, but I do admit that I had the game on my phone. This is bad. I don't do this all the time in my prayer, and I always talk about how you need to be focused in your prayer, but this was a big thing for a couple of reasons that I'll talk about. So I actually had the phone on silent during the prayer time, and I would pray, but then I'd take a quick look at my phone underneath my, the desk kind of thing, back and forth. So I think it was during the prayer that the Raptors won. And as soon as the prayer was done, I made the sign of the cross, and I went to another classroom in the school we were in, and then I posted my parody song that I did with my friend Katrina. It was Drake, In My Feelings, the Raptors. That's what we did. We recorded it a week before. We recorded it before I left for Dallas. And then I posted it that night, and I got some really nice love on Twitter and YouTube and Facebook, which was really nice. So I had that ready to go, but I had to make sure that the Raptors won, and they did so while I was praying. I wasn't praying for the Raptors to win, but it happened during that. Then, as the story goes, I leave. It must have been on a Friday or Saturday night, because I remember leaving Dallas on the Sunday, and it was Father's Day, but instead of flying home, I was flying through Toronto, and I got delayed in Toronto. So once I got to Toronto, it was a couple of missed flights and such, because I remember there were storms in the Dallas area. So my flight was late getting out of Dallas. I got into Toronto late, and I missed my connecting flight. So then basically, I decided once I landed in Toronto that I was going to stay for the Raptors parade, which was the next day, the Monday. That's what it was. And it was Father's Day. Yeah, now it's coming back to me. So I flew out of Dallas on Saturday night, on Sunday afternoon, supposed to be home in Vancouver Sunday night, for Father's Day, got rerouted through Dallas, through Toronto, I should say. And then when I was in Toronto from Dallas, I connected with a friend, a good friend of mine, and I ended up staying at her place and her family. Don't worry, it was all legit. Got Gail's permission. And I ended up staying over in Toronto to go to the Raptors parade on the Monday. But in doing so, I didn't get home. I didn't get to celebrate Father's Day at home. And then the next day, on that Monday, I missed my son Jacob's awards ceremony at Hugh Boyd. And he did pretty good. He didn't clean up, but he won a couple awards, but he was very understanding. So picture when I landed in Toronto at 11 o'clock at night, not only did I have to find a friend who would let me stay at their house overnight, and then I went to the parade with her, but I had to call home, make sure Gail was okay, make sure the kids were okay. So all in all, it was a pretty crazy 24 hours, maybe 48 hours. And then I flew home that night, actually. So I landed in Toronto at around 11 or midnight. I went out to eat with a friend, stayed at that friend's house, woke up early in the morning, went downtown, and then I was on a flight by 4 or 5 p.m. that day to get home. So I was only delayed by 24 hours, but in those 24 hours, I got to watch the Raptors victory parade downtown Toronto. So there we go, Phil. I hope that 4-minute answer, 4-minute explanation was worth asking the question. So I did not cheer, to actually answer your question, I did not cheer at all when the Raptors won because I was in the middle of prayer, but I was certainly happy that they did win, and I was able to express my happiness once the prayer was indeed over. Okay, thanks for listening to that. 10 minutes of Canuck stuff, and then 4 minutes of Toronto Raptors stuff. For these Ask Me Anything, it's not really a question of the day, but leave a comment below if there's anything that stood out to you from what I said, whether it's my 3 favorite teams, whether it's acquiring draft picks, whether it's Toffoli versus Markstrom, whatever it may be, or favorite jersey, or of course, the Toronto Raptors victory 1 year ago, today or yesterday, basically. Leave a comment below on anything I talked about. I love to read, react, and reply. Subscribe if you like to. Like this video if you like to. Enjoy the day. Make sure you join me tonight at 10 o'clock on YouTube for my weekly Canucks live stream. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Have a great day, God bless, and go Canucks go.